So it's G here from the G and Coletti Show on our second episode of Based on a True Story. Today I got a very special guest, a very interesting fellow I met in Black Rock City, Nevada at Burning Man this year. And we got to hang out a couple times since, and the more I learn about him, the more interesting he gets. So today's going to share a bit of his story with us, and I'm sure a bunch of you guys will be able to relate to some points. And then I think Matt sort of goes off in his own direction that is really cool and inspiring as well. So start from the beginning, Matt. Tell us who you are and, childhood, normal. Just start from the beginning.
Cool, okay. So for me, I grew up a martial artist. And so as long as I can remember, I've been really curious about the power of the mind. So I'm watching all these kung fu movies and seeing these people break bricks and fly across. And obviously when you're a kid, you think you can do all these things. So I can remember a specific time where I'm outside in the backyard punching wood, punching like our fence. And my dad came out, I was like, "What are you doing?" And I was like, "I'm trying to, do the thing." And he's like, "Man, that's hardwood, dummy. Like there's a difference between hard and soft wood." So I was always really curious about what I was capable of.
Well, you mean those karate guys can't break any kind of wood?
Some of them can, but hardwood's a lot tougher.
Okay, all right, cool. Just want to clarify.
Yeah,
okay.
So I was always just curious about what I was capable of. So I can remember in my teen years, I'm reading books on Zen, enlightenment, meditation, lucid dreaming, astral projection, and I'm trying these things, and I have no reference point. Most people are playing hockey and soccer and things like that. We have a common ground, but I was really alone in that experience. And I can remember reading a book on Zen and enlightenment, and just reading it like one of those those pictures you take and you cross your eyes and then an image pops?
Yeah.
But it didn't pop, it was just confusion, right? So I'm reading these books, I don't know what's going on, and then I get into my early 20s and I leave home and I go snowboarding in Whistler because I want to be a snowboard bum. So I do that and I continue to learn, and then I was like, I really, I want to learn from the best. So I planned my big travel, and I basically went to Nepal and meditated with monks for 5 weeks.
Well, they train snowboarding too in Nepal?
You can snowboard there, but no.
Oh, so you wanted to go learn about the
So
meditation?
yeah.
I thought you were going to learn snowboarding from the monks. That'd be cool.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, man. They'd probably be the best at it too, man, especially the Shaolin guys. But so I wanted to just basically learn about enlightenment. Well, who should have the key to that?
So let's backtrack a bit. So you went from reading some books in high school to traveling to Nepal to learn from monks.
Yeah.
What caused such a jump? Like what caused you to really just get up and get out of here? Because I know a lot of people are at that stage where it's like they're reading the books, they're feeling something different, they want to get out, but a lot of people are very hesitant to say, "I'm actually going to go." Never mind to North America, to go to Nepal and just figure it out. So what was that process like for you? What was the turning point where saying I gotta just go?
Gotcha. Yeah. So for me, when I want to learn something, I always want to learn from the best, right? So I don't care what it is. If you were the best at it, that's who I always want to learn from. So I've always wanted to travel. I've always wanted to explore the world, and when I was in Whistler, I wanted to snowboard the most, but I still had this side of me that I loved as well. So it came to a point where I had snowboarded enough. 6 years, I traveled the world as a professional snowboard coach, and I did all that, and I was ready to, this mental game, this mindset, enlightenment, meditation, whatever it is, it just kept, that was the main thing. So I had to, go out there. So for snowboarding, one of the best places to snowboard in the world is in Whistler, Canada. Mm-hmm. So where was the best place to learn about mindset, meditation, enlightenment than Nepal with monks?
So you got to a stage in the snowboarding where you felt like you wanted more, and the more was not on a physical level, it was more like on a spiritual quest. You felt like that's where the next adventure was. Yeah. You conquered the snowboard world to some degree, and you're like, okay, I need to do something else. Okay, very cool. So tell me about that. How did you get to Nepal? Was it expensive? Can anyone just go to Nepal? Did you say, go to the airport, take me there, and figure out when you got there? What was that process like?
So first of all, I had to figure out money. Because it was expensive, and so my goal was to make money. I wasn't sure how, and my friend Phil threw up an ad on Facebook, which is who wants to make $10,000 a month selling cars. So I was like, I want to make $10,000 a month. I've sold cars before. So I call him, and pretty much any sales job, you cut it in half, whatever they say, cut it in half. And I was like, if I can make $5,000 a month, I'm stoked. So I went down there and gave it a shot, and maybe not 10 grand, but I made enough to travel. And I remember I'd worked for 5 months, and my boss, and I was one of the top salesmen, and my boss was like, if I offered you $10,000 right now to work just December, would you stay? I was like, no, man. I was like, I've got the money that I need to go, and I'm out of here. And so that's how I saved the money.
Do you feel like it's easier to make money when you have your goal, like a real solid intention of what you need to achieve? Like you set your mind on, I need this much money to get to go to Nepal. Do you feel like that helped you really earn the money a lot easier when people are just like, oh, I need money, I gotta like pay bills, or I gotta like thing? Do you think there's a difference between like having an intention of what you're gonna do with that money that's in line with your highest values?
Yeah, probably. I think so, because that kind of came out of nowhere, and I was willing to do whatever it took. So it wasn't like, oh my God, I got to go to work. It's like, yes, I get to go to work and I get to make money. And to remember too, if you're creating something, you know, there was probably different ways that I could have made it. Just keeping the intention that I'm going to Nepal, I'm going to do all of these things, and that was just the start of a bigger trip too, right?
So you typed in a search, you know, best Shaolin monk to learn from in Nepal, and then some dude's face popped up. You're like, that's the guy?
Yeah. So, well, I looked at, I've heard you could volunteer as well. So what was important to me as well is to give back in those communities, and I know a lot of them want to learn English. So when I got over there's a volunteer agency, and I volunteered teaching a youth class. I think they're between 7 and 10. Teaching them English in the morning, which is way harder than I thought. So kudos to all the kindergarten teachers. Grade 1 is super challenging. And then after that, I would go in the afternoon and have conversations with older monks about Buddhism, about meditation, about enlightenment, about all these different things. And so that's how I spent 5 weeks. And then I trekked Everest after that. And then
you just trekked Everest after that.
Yeah, well, when I landed, so the reason why I trekked Everest is because my first day I get there, I'm in this sketchy back roads, and I don't know what's going on. I kind of think I might be getting robbed because I just landed in Nepal, it's night, the roads are super sketchy, and I just keep going down back road to back road. And the guy's like, are you going to trek Everest? And I was like, I didn't even realize Everest was in Nepal, which I probably should have. And I was like, I guess, like if I'm here right now, that's something that I'm going to do, yeah.
Cool, cool. So you have this incredible life-changing trip over 5 weeks. Yeah?
Yeah, it was more than that. That was just stage 1.
Oh, that was just stage 1. Okay, so then what happened next?
So then I trek Everest and almost die, and that's like a 20-minute story in itself. I can Cole's notes it, or can gloss over it.
Give me the Cole's notes. How did you almost die?
Okay, Cole's notes are, there's 2 peaks, okay? So I'm looking up Everest or Gokuri, and I have a camera, like photography. Gokuri is more scenic, and so is Annapurna. So I figured out I could do Gokuri Peak, where you can see Everest and the Himalayas. It's supposed to be so badass. And then I can go down and then go do Everest. So as I hiked up 5 days to get to the peak of Gokuri, we get to it, and our guide's like, you know, we can hike another hour, or we can hit it up in the morning, right? And we're like, you know what? We're tired. We've been hiking forever, and it's always been sunny in the morning. Let's do it in the morning. So we wake up, and when we wake up in the morning, you can't see your hand in front of your face. It's just fogged in, soft, nothing. So that whole view, the whole 5 days up is now gone. We do like the hike, and I'm just so pissed. And that's when I learned a lot about like happiness and perspective and things like that, because I was so angry, and I couldn't just get myself out of the anger, you know. I was like stuck in it. So it was a really good learning experience. I hiked down, and then back up to, this was 1 day hike back down, 3 days back up to see Everest Base Camp. And so on the way up, it snows a little bit. Now day 2, it snows, and I don't realize this at the time, a record-breaking 40-something centimeters. And so we start to hike, and we leave a little bit later, and basically it's knee and waist deep. And so we're trying to get through this valley, and it's been about an hour and a half, and we should be much farther, but I'm sweating profusely, and at first it's fun and funny. And then we get down, and all my stuff is soaked, I'm drenched, I'm sweating, all this kind of thing. We stay there for like about 40 minutes, get some food, then I start to walk out again. I'm still wet, but then now as I start to walk, the weather changes. I'm still using a lot of energy, my body starts to shut down. Slowly, I don't realize what's happening, right? I'm just getting really fatigued, really fatigued. And I get to this pitch, and as I start to go, I'm using mental strength and all this kind of stuff, and I start to basically shut down more and more, and I get to the point where I hear myself tell myself, so like as myself say, just relax, go to sleep, it'll be fine. and it was me. So that's what I was like, and I was kind of like passing out on these rocks, right? And where I was, you couldn't get a helicopter in to where I was if I would have fell asleep. My body apparently would have just shut down. I found it after. So I was like, oh shit, and then I basically had to hike another hour and a half, and just kind of went into like robot mode all the way out. Survival mode. End up making it to the spot, sleep all night, don't really get warm, make it to Everest the next day, and just get hellied out of there. I was like, I'm making it. And the only reason why I did it is because I wasn't going to miss 2 peaks. You know, there's no chance I was going to miss 2 peaks, so forced to that.
So you saw the other peak and it was good?
Saw the other peak, it was great.
Awesome.
Yeah, I saw Everest, it was like, it's happening.
1 out of 2 ain't so bad.
Yeah,
Most people never get that far.
Yeah.
All right, so then what happens next?
So then MMA, so mixed martial arts. I love martial arts. I want to see how good I was, and I trained with the best. I was training with professional mixed martial arts fighters. I help the best.
So you just call these people and say, look, I want to train. Like, what's the secret? Like, how do you get in there? Like, people probably want to do this. They just don't know where to start. Yeah,
so in Thailand, it's a little bit more inexpensive, right? And it's a really cool travel spot. So they have Phuket Top Team out there is where I trained, and there's a whole street of proper now MMA gyms. Tiger Muay Thai's out there. So you have professionals coming out there, and you're mixing it up with professional fighters in different disciplines. And so that's, for me, how you get better, especially in martial arts. You know, there's the side of it that I love, that's the real traditional martial art, and then there's also the functional side, and I like both.
Mm-hmm. Very cool. Mm-hmm. So how long did you do that for?
So that was 5 or 6 weeks also.
Okay.
And so after that was Cambodia, and that's where I started to write the Zen Athlete book, so phase 2. So it was originally... What
was the draw to Cambodia?
Just party.
Yeah, you had enough learning. It's like, okay, you need to let loose a little bit.
I'm basically gonna enjoy myself, sit on the beach, do a little partying, and write the book. So yeah, so definitely some fun times there.
And this was how long ago? So this is over what? This whole trip was?
This was 5.5 months or so.
Nice.
Yeah, I think five.
And you went solo.
Went solo.
Okay.
Yeah.
Any advice to potential solo travelers out there? Anything to watch out for? Anything to not be afraid of? What's the real scary stuff and then not?
I think it's just being mindful. I think you're fine if you just keep your wits about you. The problem that people have is they just are not mindful. You know, they'll get so drunk and then they get robbed. Yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah. And like it's also a mindset. Number 1, I'm a guy, it makes it easier. Number 2, I'm a martial artist, so I'm not really afraid of much. Like if a guy jumps me, it's gonna be frightening, but I at least can like punch him and run away or something. Yeah. You know, so that really does help. And then 3, it's just your attitude. You know, I think that's the most important thing, is your attitude. Somebody comes up and you want something, give it to them. Give fuck money. Here you go. Probably don't have any. Yeah. But it's also you're putting that out in your space, right? So it's just being kind and loving and open and, you know, non-resistance. Like, you can claim it on insurance. It's not a big deal. Yeah. Right? Nothing's really a big deal. Yeah. Right? Just
and don't let it ruin your trip either.
Yeah, a lot of people are like, oh my god, and they complain about it.
The rest of
the
trip is
shot. You flew here, you know what I mean? This guy lives, you know, he's living on rice or whatever, you know, good. Like,
you're walking by with your Gucci satchel. And
yeah. You're so pissed. Oh no, I gotta buy another one.
Jeez, that cost me $1,000.
Yeah, exactly. Maybe you need to make different choices.
I don't have a Gucci satchel. I don't think Matt does either. Just use it as an example.
Gucci satchel. Yeah, do that in Cambodia. If you want a magnet for someone to want to take your stuff.
Okay, so you go to Cambodia, great time, party.
So party, write the book. That's the 2 things. I'm also meditating quite a bit. And then this is the highlight of my trip. Something that I've wanted to do since childhood was to train with Shaolin monks. Real, legit.
So what was that like?
It was amazing. It was great.
Can they fly and stuff like that?
Dude, yes. They, like, man, watching them at night, so they would train, we would have our training, but then they would train on their own, right? And so sometimes I would look,
real training.
Holy shit, dude. Like, when people go and they're doing shows, that was them. It was watching ninjas. It was watching 100% ninjas. It was incredible. They would do these kicks, and they could go over, like, I'm not that tall, like 5'8", but their stomach would be flat and V'd out, like, over my head, and they would have all the weapons and, you know, like a Ninja Turtle, Donatello, all that, like, the maxed out version. It was unreal.
Amazing.
It was unreal.
And so what type of stuff were they teaching you, like?
So you had the option to do different disciplines, Shaolin, traditional Shaolin, Wing Chun, also, it's not grasshopper, geez, mantis. So mantis kung fu. So that would be the forms.
Teach you how to break hardwood?
So one of the masters there, Master Go, who I interview, he could break stone, like a couple inches thick, like maybe like an inch. I don't know exactly, but it was thick enough, freaking stone, with 2 fingers. And he could break thicker slabs over his head and every point on his body, like elbows and knees, and he would just show that as a demonstration of what's possible. So I end up interviewing him, right? Because this is the stuff that I want to know. MMA is great, like mixed martial arts, great.
But if you get stuck in a cave, you need to break your way out. You need life skills.
It's what is it? Kill Bill.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Exactly.
Just get yourself out.
1-inch death punch.
Yeah, so I want to know, that's like mind power. That to me is a martial artist. Like you've got a mixed martial artist, MMA, fighting is one thing, but this is an integration of a higher level of superhuman power.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm interviewing him. I'm like, how is this possible? Trick. What's the trick? And there's a translator, and she translates it to him, and he's like, no trick. And I'm like, trick. Tell me the trick. You know what I mean? Because I'm doing due diligence here. I want to make sure, because I know sometimes you can do tricks.
Yeah.
It's like, no trick, no trick. Sorry, third time, just to be. It's a trick, you know what I mean? And he just starts slamming his fingers down on this oak after boom, and just goes years of conditioning. And outside the academy, there's the proof. There's trees with finger holes from them standing and just doing this. So that's hard qigong. And then he said soft qigong for years. So he puts the qi and the energy into his body, and then also conditions it through training. And that's all they do all day, every day. And that's when I had this really deep epiphany that being a superhuman couldn't be any more normal. It couldn't be any more practical.
It's like we're in a deficiency right now because we do stupid shit all day. We watch TV and we don't exercise our natural abilities.
So what if, I dedicated my life? What if anybody dedicated their entire existence to one idea? That's what they did. And I asked him, I was like, can anybody do this? And he goes, yes, but most people are going to give up just before they get there. And he's like, and 99% of people are not cut out for this type of life. So and I think in the same sense, a lot of people aren't cutting out for chasing their dreams. Now, what does that mean? It means anybody can do it, but do you have the will to kind of move forward with the dedication it takes?
Are your dreams even your dreams to begin with?
100%.
Right?
Yep.
Like people have these dreams of things that they think they want to achieve because someone told them, they saw it in a TV show or watched it, but it probably doesn't even really resonate with them. We talked about this in another quick thoughts, like, why do you want that? Why do you really want that? Why is it something you really want? And that's what people need to figure out. Sorry. Yeah, that's awesome, man. That's a great realization. So you meet the monk, he teaches you how to break something. Can you
So I only tried one, and they had bricks, and they're not like our bricks, they're a little bit squishier.
That's the trick, eh? Squishy bricks.
It's not squishy. It's just they're not as they're not as solid, but it's still a damn brick.
Yeah.
But I tried with all of my might and all of my chi, and I failed.
And you just went and just showed you
I tried with the palm, didn't work. But there was another guy there that I watched, and he had it there, and he just did 3 hits, and he just did his form 3 hits, and then it was just a puff of just bricks.
Exploded.
Yeah, but I was messing with him one day with a 1-inch punch, and his hands were like these little meat mallets, So, but that's what he does. He's this little, they're masters, real 100% masters. But what I was gonna say about what we're talking about, the dreams. That's exactly why people are not doing those. And one of the things that I've helped people with lately is this heart hypnosis meditation, and it's basically taking people's consciousness into their hearts to ask these questions. So what would you do if you had $1 trillion and you had all the resources you could ever have?
I'd buy more Kraft dinner.
Yeah.
No, that's if I had $1 million. Is there a song like that? I had $1 million. No.
That's oh my god. It's
Bare Naked Ladies. Yeah.
I don't think they say buy more Kraft dinner though.
Yeah. They do.
Oh my god. But that's
right, Kaylee? Don't they say that in that song?
I don't know.
Kaylee's here. Everyone, say hi to Kaylee.
Hey guys.
Are we good? Camera, good position? Yeah. Okay. Sorry. Yeah. What would you do if you had $1 trillion? What would you do if you had more money than? Just trying to check if we're in the screen still.
You look beautiful.
What would you do? Yeah. What would you do if you couldn't fail? What would you do if you had all the resources? What would you do if that were you're gonna get paid $50,000 a month every month, and forever? How do you spend your time? So we're taking out
Once you
money.
get bored of all that shit you can't buy right now, and you're gonna buy it all, and then you're gonna throw it all out, and then you're gonna be like, okay,
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people get lost that do make that much money because they just want to make more. Like, oh, now I got $1 million, I got to make $1 trillion. And when I get there, I'll be happy. I'll conquer this or I'll conquer that. I'll conquer the world.
And I think part of it, where it comes from fundamentally, is that, because of just evolution, we're hardwired for safety, right? We're hardwired to basically not die, right? So how now that happens is we get money that pays for food so we don't die. So money is our security. So that's why there can never be enough, because if you have $1 million, what if you lose that $1 million? Then where will you get food?
Yeah.
Right? That's the underlying primal factor.
Yeah.
But then you can get lost with all kinds of bullshit on the way.
Yeah.
But that's that primal need, especially if you have a family, right? You got kids, you got to feed them, right? So how can I be following my heart? But then, you can only follow your heart so much, because then that's not practical. That's not going to get money. Now I can't get food. So it
balance. You got to find a good balance.
Yeah. So start looking.
So what's the one thing you've decided now to focus on, to master? What's your two-finger? What's Matt doing now? Is that where we're at? We're at that part of the story now?
Yeah. So it's three specific creations. So the first is the Zen Athlete Intention, and that's a book program. But the intention is to popularize the mental game of sport. And what I mean by that is just switching how we teach sport in youth organizations and schools. So in martial arts, it's about the development of mind, body, spirit. Being able to kick someone's ass is a byproduct. So there's nothing that prevents learning hockey from learning about focus, learning about meditation, self-discipline, all these amazing things we learn from martial arts that's just not taught anywhere else. It's just a shift in perspective. So if we can teach these basics in schools, it's going to have a massive impact. Bringing mindfulness into each sport. There's no reason why those elements can't be taught in every sport.
Yeah.
So that's one. Two is my own podcast, and that's where I want to interview and have conversations like this with the most conscious, intelligent, wise, developed, kind people of service to humanity.
Kaylee Brown, she's your next guest.
Perfect. Yeah. Yeah, share their stories, talk about things that matter, and just spread that out. Holy, you're the master at this. How did you get there?
And you know what I find about most of these people? They all start off just a normal person. Then one day the switch went off. They're like, if I focus on one thing and just be the best at that because I love it, and they become great at it. And they become Matt Belair is the next superstar, or like Wim Hof, or like they use their life experiences to their advantage instead of being a victim of things that happen to them and shutting down. They're like, I got through this, I got through this difficult, shitty experience, and now I've learned these things from it, so now I'm going to use it to my advantage and, find out what I'm passionate about and go after it. And living proof right here. Kaylee Brown too,
Yeah, I think it's the real exploration of self, not other, right? We're watching other people, but we're taking it in. So it's just understanding who the heck we are.
Yeah.
More and more and more and more.
Yeah.
And as we do that, then we become the example of us that allows other people to be the example of who they are. And everybody is perfect as they are. And the more you can connect to that.
Create an environment where people can be themselves, that's the key, When you start figuring yourself, even allow the people around you to be in that environment where you bring out who they are. Let them, be themselves. That's what we try to do around here. We do these events now, and try to create a space where it's like, just be yourself. Let that come out a little bit more. Don't be afraid of judgment. Don't be afraid of what your parents told you you're supposed to be, or what school taught you what you're supposed to be. It's like, you are who you are, man. Let it out a bit. So, yeah.
Yeah, and I've been to your event. It's awesome.
Yeah, you had fun.
Good. Yeah, it's a really great time.
Awesome. Thanks.
So there's one more.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, three.
That's it. 3. So this is something that I just stumbled across trying to help a friend, but it is basically that heart hypnosis, the heart journey experience, because I was mentored by Michael Lozier. He wrote The Law of Attraction. Amazing book. He taught me how to do 3-hour seminars, weekend seminars, master the Law of Attraction based on NLP, all practical. If you think Law of Attraction is bullshit,
I believe it.
Yeah, even if you didn't. Even if you didn't, you listen to me for 15 minutes, 20 minutes, you're like, that makes sense. You could stay for all 3, that makes sense.
So far, everything you said makes sense. So I don't see why
right,
that wouldn't.
Yeah. So the skeptic, right?
Yeah.
But my thing is okay, it's all well and good that you can create your reality, but what the heck do you want to create? There's no module here that shows us what we want to create, and I think that's the fundamental thing. It's like, our life in a wheel, if it's 360 degrees, most people don't know if they're going north, east, south, or west. And when you can find your specific coordination, that's like your path home, and that's your purpose and your meaning and your connection to spirit. So if you start off with between 320 degrees to 360 degrees, you can narrow it down to 330 to 355, then to 341.21. That's your path walking home, and you know it. And so the best way that I've seen to help people really find that, because there's things like the passion test, which is great, but it's all in the mind. It's all in that level of consciousness. So when I go through this guided process, kind of hypnotize you into your heart, then your heart speaks about what you would create in this infinite space as a human. And of the 20 some people have done it now, I've had 14 people cry. One pissed himself.
I love crying. Can I try?
Right, yeah. One pissed himself from a healing, and one popped out of their body. And
the other 8 died.
Yeah. Yeah, not for the weary. Yeah, not for the weary.
No one died.
Yeah.
Just kidding.
And yeah.
Disclaimer.
Yeah, well, parts that I think in a sense.
Parts of you die. Yeah. Maybe.
So, there's been interesting. It's been really interesting because.
Okay, I want to try it. I'm curious now.
You see the commonalities in humans. And so when I say you can have anything, nobody's listing off cars. Not one person has done that yet. They want to be around people. They want to live more simply. A lot of them have this massive process of letting go.
Yeah.
And they're in it, and it's like they're getting blindsided by a truck. You're like, oh, I already knew this. Oh my God. But they know deeper now.
Yeah, I think at a very deep level, most people just want that connection, that community, and a lot of them don't know it because they're chasing these false dreams. But deep down, people need that community, that connection. And I think a lot of people that have the money got there by destroying all the relationships and trying to fill in the voids with all these things, right? Because that's all they can do. And they go, oh, you like me? I got a Ferrari, right? It creates that short-lived connection. But yeah, I think I can see how that happens. Yeah.
And it's so all like hypnosis is or meditation is in hypnosis they call it the critical factor. So you say, hey Matt, you're the best snowboarder on the planet, and then I think, oh well, there's so and so and so. I'm like, hey Giovanni, this is gonna, whatever, and then you're gonna think about how you think that. That's the critical factor. It's your consciousness. So through a state of meditation or hypnosis, you get past that into the deeper parts of your mind to experience a different level of awareness. So you're looking at yourself through a different scope and a different intention. And I do some other things in there that are kind of nice for the experience, but you're able to see it. So, you have like that realization that's deeper, right? Somebody can tell you to eat your vegetables, but you have an experience one time, you're like, oh my God, I just needed to eat vegetables and I would have felt better, or whatever it is, right? You just have this deeper level of understanding. So then, just like sacred medicines like ayahuasca or things like that, or an experience or a seminar, you need to integrate that information, right? But you see it so clearly. Now you have the opportunity to integrate because we want the journey, we want the experience, we want that hours of day. So we earned it, and we know the people that we see have also earned it. There are no shortcuts in the real game, in the real ascension, enlightenment, self-development. There's no shortcuts, and you're the one who has to go, oh fuck it, you jump all in, and then you jump all in, and you jump all in, and you did that, and nobody gets into that level of game without doing the exact same thing. Very personal process.
Well, so this is Matt's true story, regular guy or not so regular guy that just started going on his own path and just figuring out and just followed his intuition. What I would say is most, he was drawn to go to Nepal, and he went to Nepal, and there's something there. And I think that people should tap into their intuition, and when they feel drawn to try something or change something, quit your job. I never told you to quit your job, but if you feel like you want to quit your job, maybe there's something there, right? So just in closing, before we tell people where to find you, what's the one simplest life lesson that you think people need to know, or something that you just, in a nutshell, like that people can take away from your story?
I think the most fundamental thing of all is just to love yourself, just to be as loving and kind to yourself, and listen to yourself, loving and kind to yourself. Because most people, I train extreme sports athletes as well, and high-level athletes. Everybody kicks themselves in the nuts so hard. Everyone's so hard on themselves. You know what I mean? You're good enough now, you're worthy now, you're growing, you know what I mean? You don't just walk into mastery. Just be really kind and easy on yourself. Follow your intuition, follow your gut, do the things that you know that you should be doing that feel right to you, and just go that way. And then just allow everybody else to do whatever the heck they want, because it's none of your darn business. You know what I mean? Let them walk their own path. So that's a good nutshell, I think.
Well, thanks for hanging out today. If you want to check out Matt, he's got a podcast, mattbelair.com, MattBelair.
Oh,
like
yeah,
the
but
Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, or
you
not
got
spelled
it.
the same?
Yeah,
It is the
but
same.
but no hyphen.
No hyphen.
Yeah.
Check him out. We'll put some links in the podcast notes as well. And his book's coming out, zenathlete.com. Is that up and running too?
Yeah.
Zenathlete.com. And yeah, that's it. Signing off. Thanks for coming in, brother.
Yeah, buddy. Thanks for having me.
Good to see you. Yeah, you too, man.